Perhaps the unsung hero of the carnivore diet is collagen. Yes, we talk about collagen a lot, how it's good for your organ health, for your stomach health. In addition to everything everybody knows about collagen, it's good for your hair, your skin, your fingernails, that sort of thing. But collagen is one of those essential extras in food that we need, and it's easy to not get enough of. You'll see some signs of this, maybe, peeling of skin, or your hair health isn't as good as it could be, maybe even some stomach issues. And there are plenty of carnivore foods that you can get all the collagen you need by eating just a little bit once in a while. We'll get the obvious ones out of the way. Okay, so the carnivore diet is built on red meat. Beef for most people watching this, but also lamb and a few other things. You can, unless you're doing like the lion diet, consume other animals as well. So before we get to all the beef cuts that have a large amount of collagen in them, you can eat cod. Cod is loaded with collagen. The actual meat is. As well as in general, fish skin. There are sushi types where you can get crispy fish skin. If you eat salmon once in a while, get it on the skin, roast it on a bed of bacon renderings or beef tallow, and when you cook it, the natural beef or the tallow or the lard will actually fry the skin for you and create a very crispy, tasty snack. Actually, it's quite nice. But cod in general is a good source. Of course, chicken wings and any chicken with the skin is obviously, with both fish and chicken, you're going to run into some other things you have to decide if it's worth it or not. Fish can have heavy metals in them. Chicken fat has a lot of all sorts of other fun things in it to deal with. That's why a lot of carnivores avoid all of those things. But they are options for you if you are so inclined. But how about beef? What can we do for beef for collagen? Aside from making beef broth, bone broth, what can you do? You're not likely to chew on a cartilage-heavy piece like a leg bone of a cow. Most of us aren't going to do that. Well, there are certain ones that have lots of connective tissue. That's what collagen is. It's connective tissue. So the first one you want to think about is brisket. Any grocery store probably carries brisket. I'm a fan of cooking brisket low and slow to break the collagen down to make it so you can actually eat it. Low and slow, I put it in a grill, make Texas-style barbecue brisket, served without sauce because good barbecue doesn't need sauce, but it's loaded with collagen. In fact, all these cuts are going to be tougher cuts because of the collagen and the fibers in them. And the low and slow method is a good way to break those down so you can eat them and you'll still get the collagen out of it. But brisket's your easiest one. The second one are short ribs. Often you'll find short ribs cut into individual braising ribs at the grocery store, but you can find them sometimes as full racks. Again, this is a low and slow cooking method. I love beef ribs in general. It's like actually my favorite thing to barbecue. But you can do them in the oven if you're inclined. Chuck roast. There's a reason chuck roast is tough is because it's, again, loaded with collagen. You can cook chuck like any way like a brisket. You can cut it into small steaks, and fry it just fine. Chuck comes from a cow's shoulder, which is why it's tougher and why it's loaded with collagen. Another one that most people won't think of is flank steak. It comes from the belly of beef, and it's tasty partially because it has a lot of collagen in it. Flank steak. I know, it doesn't usually register for us that flank steak is a good one to go with. We've already talked about chuck roast, but how about the eye of round, or the round steak? This is another super lean, tougher cut of meat. And this is why you don't see it often, but you can cook these like a brisket too. Most people, when they buy round roasts, they're cutting them into steaks, or you can buy eye of round at Walmart if you want to. It's one of the cheapest cuts they have. Because of how lean it is, you're going to want to supplement the fat with either butter or bacon or eggs or just beef tallow added to it. You're going to want to up the fat on this because it's so lean. Oxtail. It's the tougher one to cook for a lot of people, but it's packed with collagen. These are also very big bones in a lot of the oxtail you'll find. Also, oxtail used to be super cheap, but in the last few years has gotten more expensive, probably because of internet cooking tutorials. There's another low and slow cooking thing. You'll find oxtail served at like high-end fine dining restaurants. It's almost a delicacy kind of cut. So you should really learn what to do with it. This is another one that I like to do low and slow. You get beef shank. No idea where to get this except maybe your butcher or from a rancher who sells beef directly. But it comes from the lower portion of a cow's leg. It's high in collagen, has a lot of connective tissue. It's, again, long, low, slow cooking methods. You could there's videos online of people taking beef shank and making what they call Thor's hammer out of it, where they shave some of the meat off the bone, leaving a big chunk of bone or a big bone hanging out, sticking out the top of this roast, and then they cook it like a brisket. Another one that I would suggest would be beef cheeks. You can find these a lot of times at Latino grocery stores and Asian markets. They require a lot of trimming. There are YouTube tutorials out there for trimming beef cheeks. I get beef cheeks from a rancher who has the butcher do all the trimming already. They are another low and slow, loaded with collagen cut. They're not very big. If you have a hankering for brisket and you want it relatively quickly, you can take beef cheeks, cook them like a brisket in a grill, Texas style, and in just a few short hours, you will have your brisket, basically. But these are all cuts loaded with collagen. There's other things that you can do, of course, for your collagen needs. There are some people who go and do the, I think, kind of weird thing of paying a lot of money for collagen supplements. Some people need them. A lot of those, organ meat supplements, I never found that they did anything for me whatsoever, but other people clearly have had positive results from them. So your usage may vary depending, the kind of mileage you get out of them might vary depending on your particular needs, but I don't think most people need that. But there are decent collagen supplements out there, also made by some of these, carnivore and carnivore adjacent supplement companies. The Ancestral Company, and a few of the other ones. They tend to try to make them from more bioavailable collagen sources from the actual knuckles and things of the beef. But you should, under most circumstances, be able to get all the collagen you need by cooking up a chuck roast or learning how to cook a wonderful decadent rack of beef ribs. Getting my grill fixed today, the day I'm recording this, a situation at my house fixed today, the day I'm recording this, and one of the things I'm going to make is a brisket, and then next week probably a rack of beef ribs. I've been looking forward to this. I haven't had access to my grill in almost a month because of a thing at the house, but you can get all the collagen you need if you're on a beef-based diet from the flesh meat of animals, oftentimes the cheapest cuts. The cuts that most people don't know how to cook or don't want to cook. Remember, you're watching this video on YouTube. That means you are just a few keystrokes away from finding a tutorial on how to cook oxtail or how to cook beef ribs or brisket for beginners. There are many ways to do this. Don't let a lack of skills block you from doing this. You can consume these high collagen cuts of meat yourself with very little effort. What other high sources of high collagen foods can you think of, and put them in the comments, please? Obviously, bone broth comes to mind, but there are some other ones. So let me know in the comments what other sources you would consume. Thanks very much for tuning in today, folks. I'm Anthony Stine. Take care now.